Greetings, free thinkers. Welcome to the Hoggcast. How are we doing today? I hope you're doing fine. I certainly am. Okay, what do we have for you on today's episode? We have for you one clip to watch. An important one, I thought I'd show you it. The Western mainstream media will not be happy until they get the war they want. East versus West. World War III. This is evidently what they seem to want. They seem to be pushing for it. Or at least they're amplifying the message of the people that they are truly beholden to. Okay, the people that give the mainstream media their talking points. Maybe they want it, yeah? So this is CBS. They are over in Ukraine. They are with the US 101st Airborne Unit near the Ukrainian border. And wait until you hear what they've got to say, yeah? They are talking about how they are practicing doing some live drills and so on, right on the border, right? Is that not an act of provocation? It seems to me like the West, driven especially by Britain, the United States, France, that's another one, France, they seem they're just hell-bent on getting this war. That the people who are hell-bent on getting it won't be partaking in themselves. They'll be drafting your son or your brother or your father into their war that they absolutely seem hell-bent on getting. NATO's frontline defenders. Ukraine's not in NATO. Ukraine was considered for decades to be a buffer state that kept us in peace, you see, East and West at peace, and we agreed that this piece of territory in the middle would be neutral. Russia for the longest time evidently kept that to look, say what you want about Putin, say what you want about Russia, but they're only, in my opinion, they're only reacting to being constantly poked. Yeah, the Russian bear constantly being poked in the face and the eye and the chest, and then when it snaps at you're shocked. You know, like a child that pulls the ear of a dog and then the dog snaps at the child, and the child's upset and shocked that the dog just bit it, but you've been pulling its ear. Yeah. So look, let's get into this video. I want to show you this clip. It's like something you would expect from North Korea, in my opinion. Sorry, I've got sore throat. Keep that in mind as you watch the clip. So we'll get into it now. If you haven't yet though, please like the video, subscribe to the Hoggcast, hit the notification bell and share the video around. If you find the video informative, my videos also go onto Rumble now. You can find me there. I'm uploading all of my videos there because I am shadow banned and deboosted here on YouTube, because I am a conservative commentator. You can also join the membership. There's a membership button next to the sub button. You can support my work by becoming a member if you so choose, but of course you don't have to. Okay, let's go. Okay, we'll play the clip in its entirety first, and then we'll go back and we'll play it again, and I'll stop it intermittently to make the points I want to make.
At a forward operating site, we watched as U.S. soldiers and Romanian troops pounded targets in a joint ground and air assault. The tank rounds and artillery fire are real. So is the enemy, meant to recreate the fight against Russian forces in Ukraine. A message to Russia and NATO allies alike: we're here.
The real meaning for me to have the American troops here is like if you were to have allies in Normandy before any enemy was there.
In all, roughly 4,700 soldiers of the 101st Screaming Eagles from Fort Campbell, Kentucky, have been deployed to reinforce NATO's eastern flank.
You've had an opportunity to watch, observe, and possibly study the Russians. What do you think of them so far?
So we're closely watching them. So we're building objectives to practice against that replicate exactly what's going on in Ukraine. We're the closest American unit to be fighting in Ukraine.
And what does that feel like? What does that mean?
It keeps us on our toes, right? So it makes my
Ready to fight tonight is a message that we've heard repeatedly. It's not just about defending NATO territory, but if the fight escalates and NATO partners are under threat, they're fully prepared to cross over into Ukrainian territory if ordered to do so. Back to you in the studio.
So I'll play again. These people, they won't let up, will they? I want this guy.
They're fully.
I want his son to be on the front line. I want his son, his brother, yeah, his nephews to be, quote, the first ones across, yeah.
Fully prepared to cross over. At a forward operating site, we watched as U.S. soldiers and Romanian troops pounded targets in a joint ground and air assault.
Can I just say, Romania is probably the very last person you want, or people you want to have at your side if you're going to go and fight Russia. The Germans tried that before. One of the main reasons they got encircled at Stalingrad so quickly is because they put all of their best German troops into the cauldron, and they kept their flanks, quote unquote, secured by Italian and Romanian troops, who very quickly folded in the massive Russian counterattack. Okay, you people just learn nothing. You really learn nothing from history. So this is a very belligerent bang, bang, bang. We're on Ukraine's border. Can you imagine Russia doing this like on the Canadian border, or like the border, look up where Alaska is? Right. It's you're pushing for it. You can't deny that you're pushing for war. As he says later in the video, I'm sure you heard it when we played it through without me interrupting. We're ready to go tonight. That's not just a face-saving statement. That's a statement of encouragement. That's a statement of, we're rearing to go. Come on, let's go. But you keep poking that bear. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
The tank rounds and artillery fire are real. So is the enemy, meant to recreate the fight against Russian forces in Ukraine.
So the way they worded that, the tank rounds are real, etc., etc. This is real, that, and so is the enemy. Which is a bizarre statement to make, because that leads you to think that they are actually firing on the enemy. I mean, is that not what he just said?
The tank rounds and artillery fire are real. So is the enemy.
So is the enemy. So they want you to know that this isn't just a war game. They are very... This is CBS, yeah, the mainstream media. They're very clear for you to know that the enemy is real. The enemy is real, yeah. Which, of course, the immediate... When I saw this, I thought, no, it can't have started already. Because I thought they meant that they were firing on quote unquote real enemies. But that's not what they meant. What they meant is they want the pros who watch CBS to know that the enemies are real. You understand what I mean? The enemy is real. They're there. And they're gonna get you, unless we send your sons and daughters off to war. There's a Russian under every bed.
Meant to recreate the fight against Russian forces in Ukraine. A message to Russia and NATO allies alike, we're here.
The real meaning for me to have the American troops here is like if you were to have allies in Normandy before any enemy was there.
So what he's just said is that an attack, in his opinion, is inevitable. That's essentially what he's saying, that an attack is inevitable. War with Russia is inevitable. And it doesn't just come with Russia. See, because of, over the last generation, because of the West's absurdly destructive foreign policy, specifically and especially Britain and the United States, but also the rest, you know, France, Germany, the lot of them. our foreign policy has created a situation where it's not just Russia that are eager to see us fall, but their allies are too. Yeah, there's a lot of countries that really hate the West, and it's because of our foreign policy. Regime change. I mean, what right does the West have to engage in that? You know, and there's a lot of people who quite honestly wouldn't mind engaging in quote-unquote regime change over here. A lot of them live here already, welcomed in by our non-existent border. Yeah. It's craziness, isn't it? So he's essentially saying that it's inevitable. War is inevitable. Yeah.
In all, roughly 4,700 soldiers of the 101st Screaming Eagles from Fort Campbell, Kentucky, have been deployed to reinforce NATO's eastern flank.
You've had an opportunity to watch, observe, and possibly study the Russians. What do you think of them so far?
So we're closely watching them. So we're building objectives to practice against that.
We're building objectives. We're closely watching them to practice against. They want war. They want it. Yeah.
Replicate exactly what's going on in Ukraine. We're the closest American unit to be fighting in Ukraine.
Also, I'd like to say that I remember reading not too long ago about the war games that they had, East versus West, and in those war games, which is not too dissimilar from what these guys are doing, the East completely trounced the West. They knew exactly what we were going to do, when we were going to do it. We are crippled by wokeness. We have this strange, particularly Britain and the United States, have this strange air like simply because we are always going to win, but that's not the case at all. I mean, like, at the end of the day, if you got to look at these interventionist wars. When has one of them ever been a success? They haven't. Going back to Vietnam, tell me one interventionist war that's been a success. Because I would like to know.
What does that feel like? What does that mean?
It keeps us on our toes, right? So it makes my
Ready to fight tonight is a message.
See, this guy, man, really, there's something wrong with him. Ready to go tonight. That's how eager they are. They're ready to go, you know. They're trying. This guy's almost. It's like a sport. It's like he's talking about a football team in a World Cup. And the World Cup, those footballers are ready to go tonight. They've been training and practicing all day. Yeah, they're ready to go. It could end in Armageddon, right? And it's like the happiest thing for this guy. These mainstream media types are ghouls, I say.
Message that we've heard repeatedly. It's not just about defending NATO territory, but if the fight escalates and NATO partners are under threat, they're fully prepared to cross over into Ukrainian territory if ordered to do so.
But what if you're escalating it? Or us in the West? How come we're never escalating things? You know, like, and invariably, if it does end up in WW3, you know full well that the mainstream media will call us the Allies and will refer to them as the Axis. But who gets to decide who the Allies are and the Axis is? Right? I mean, they have allies too. Why aren't they the Allies and we the Axis? Because, as far as I'm concerned, the threat is the globalists. Okay? They seem hell-bent on this war. They seem hell-bent on it. Anyway, look, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments section below. Let me know what you think about, you know, the mainstream media warmongering is sickening. It's sickening, in my opinion. But let me know what you think about that and this. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.